Look around. You're surrounded by distractions, music, videos, ads, entertainment, outrage, noise. You're trained from childhood to consume, to scroll, to binge, to absorb. Every day, you're fed the same lie. Sit back, relax, enjoy. Someone else will create for you. And at first it feels good. Consumption is easy. Consumption is addictive. Consumption is endless. But slowly, quietly, something inside you begins to die. Your hunger for meaning, your fire for life, your sense of who you really are. Because you were not born to consume. You were born to create. Nietzsche knew this over a century ago, before smartphones, before social media, before streaming. He saw what was coming, and he warned, no artist tolerates reality. You are not meant to passively absorb the world. You are meant to transform it. Let's begin. The human soul needs nourishment, not the kind you find in endless entertainment, not the shallow stimulation of the next viral trend. Real nourishment comes from creating something new, a thought, a piece of work, a relationship built on truth, a body sculpted by discipline, a life stitched together by your own hands. When you only consume, you rob yourself of the essential human experience, the act of creation. Nietzsche believed that a person who does not create becomes spiritually stagnant, and spiritual stagnation leads inevitably to despair. No matter how much you consume, without creation, you will feel hollow. The soul is designed to forge, not just to feast. Modern life seduces you into passivity. Everything is designed to be easier, faster, shallower. Why build when you can buy? Why create when you can click? Why struggle when you can be entertained? But every shortcut you take, every moment you choose passive consumption over active creation, weakens you. It erodes your initiative, your imagination, your resilience. Nietzsche warned that when life becomes too easy, the human spirit decays, not because life is cruel, but because ease kills ambition. And without ambition, without the sacred thirst to create, you slip quietly into spiritual death. You were born to bring new things into existence, new thoughts, new paths, new dreams. You are not a spectator, you are a force. Nietzsche saw human beings not as finished products, but as unfinished symphonies. Your task is not to consume life as it's handed to you. Your task is to compose your own masterpiece. Creation is the signature of life itself. Stars are born in violent collisions. Trees stretch upward against gravity. Minds sharpen themselves against hardship. Every living thing struggles to express itself, to expand, to manifest, and you are no different. The urge to create isn't optional. It's woven into your DNA. To deny it is to deny your own existence. When you consume too much and create too little, you don't just waste time. You lose yourself. Slowly, your instincts rot. You stop thinking originally. You stop acting decisively. You stop daring to dream dangerously. You become a mirror reflecting other people's visions, other people's dreams, other people's ideas. Nietzsche would call this a slave morality, living according to what others produce, never crafting your own reality. Consumption without creation creates dependency. Dependency creates weakness, and weakness creates despair. Because deep down, your soul knows you are supposed to be the artist of your own life, not its critic, not its passive audience. So what now? How do you reclaim your birthright as a creator? It begins small. It begins with a refusal, refusing to let every spare moment be filled with noise, refusing to drift through life without leaving a mark, refusing to be satisfied with being a spectator. It begins with simple acts of rebellion, writing instead of scrolling, building instead of complaining, thinking instead of absorbing. You don't have to create a masterpiece today. You just have to start creating. Because with every act of creation, no matter how small, you awaken a part of yourself that consumption can never touch. A fire the world didn't give you, and the world cannot extinguish. You are not here to pass the time. You are here to forge something that time cannot erase. In a world built to make you passive, creation is rebellion. When you create, you defy the forces that want you distracted, the systems that want you obedient, the algorithms that want you predictable. Nietzsche understood this long before social media ever existed. He saw that the human being's highest duty was not obedience, but self-expression. Not mindless participation in the systems around you, but conscious forging of a new path. He wrote, "One must still have chaos in oneself to be able to give birth to a dancing star." Creation is messy, it's dangerous, it's chaotic, but it's also the only proof that you are alive. Modern distractions don't just waste your time, they enslave your spirit. Every endless scroll steals creative energy. Every binge watch numbs your imagination. Every mindless click slowly rewires your brain to crave passivity over agency. And the worst part? You don't even notice it happening. The slavery is invisible. You feel restless but don't know why. You feel empty but can't explain it. You feel lost but keep reaching for more noise to fill the void. Nietzsche would see this for what it is: spiritual anesthesia. You're not just losing hours, you're losing your power to shape reality. And without creation, your spirit atrophies. Creativity isn't a luxury. It's not something reserved for artists or writers. It's a spiritual necessity. When you create, you affirm your existence. You inject meaning into chaos. You carve a piece of the infinite into a shape only you could make. Creation is your conversation with existence itself. When you create a poem, a business, a philosophy, a work of art, a life of integrity, you are answering life's call. You are saying, "I was here, I mattered, I added something." And in that act, you transcend consumption. You transcend survival. You become alive in the fullest sense. Escaping the cage isn't about quitting technology or rejecting all entertainment. It's about reclaiming authority over your attention. It's about deciding how you will spend your energy, where you will direct your focus, what you will create with the limited, precious fire of your life. Nietzsche believed in the power of self-mastery. No one is coming to save you from passivity. You must save yourself by choosing creation over consumption, by choosing struggle over sedation, by choosing meaning over mindlessness. Each choice is small, but their cumulative effect will change your destiny, one moment at a time, one act of creation at a time. Everything you consume disappears. The songs, the shows, the gossip, the trends, forgotten in days or hours. But what you create, that endures. Your creation is your fingerprint on eternity. A book that changes a stranger's life. A child raised with wisdom and strength. A work of art that outlives you. A life of courage that echoes through generations. Nietzsche believed that when you create, you step outside the flow of meaningless time. You anchor yourself to something greater than survival. Your creation becomes a bridge, linking your fleeting existence to the eternal dance of becoming. You are not here to drift. You are here to forge. And what you forge can never be taken from you. If you think you must wait for inspiration to create, you'll wait forever. Creation doesn't come from comfort. It comes from struggle. Nietzsche knew that the greatest works of art, philosophy, and achievement are born not from ease, but from confrontation with fear. with limitation, with chaos. Struggle sharpens you. Pain deepens you. Tension pulls new life out of you. If you run from struggle, you run from your own potential. Creation is not something you do after you solve all your problems. Creation is how you solve them. Modern life encourages imitation. Copy the trend, follow the script, blend in. But imitation is spiritual death. Nietzsche believed that every soul carries a unique fingerprint, a pattern of thought, feeling, and vision that has never existed before and will never exist again. When you imitate, you silence your own music. You betray your own possibility. You trade your soul for approval. Creation demands courage. Courage to be misunderstood. Courage to be rejected. Courage to stand alone. If you only echo the voices around you, you will never hear your own, and the world will lose something irreplaceable: you. Every act of creation strengthens your soul, not because it's easy, but because it forces you to wrestle with reality, to clarify your values, to sharpen your focus, to withstand criticism, to trust yourself against the noise. When you create, you practice discipline, you practice resilience, you practice truth, and slowly, almost imperceptibly, your soul grows strong, not fragile, not inflated by applause, not deflated by rejection, but steady, rooted, sovereign. Every work you produce is not just a gift to the world, it's a building block for your own becoming. There is something in you that the world has never seen before. Not because you're special in some shallow sense, but because reality itself never repeats. No one else has your precise combination of experiences, insights, and dreams. No one else feels exactly what you feel. No one else sees exactly what you see. If you do not create what is within you, it will be lost forever. Nietzsche warned that most people betray themselves long before the world does. They silence their own gifts out of fear, fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of irrelevance. But the real tragedy isn't failure, it's non-existence. To have lived and never dared to leave a mark, that is the real death. Before you create anything external, you must first create yourself. Nietzsche's concept of the Übermensch, the higher man, is not someone who conquers others. It's someone who conquers himself. You must shape your mind, your values, your habits, your destiny. You are not a finished product. You are a raw material waiting for your own hands to sculpt it. And every act of external creation, a book, a business, a movement, is an echo of the deeper hidden creation. Yourself, the greatest masterpiece you will ever craft, is the life you dare to live. Nietzsche constantly reminded his readers, "You are mortal. You do not have endless time. You do not have infinite chances. Every day you delay creating, every day you drown yourself in noise, is a day you cannot get back." He wrote, "Live as though the day were already lost." This doesn't mean living in fear. It means living with urgency. Because when you understand your time is short, you stop wasting it. You stop postponing your real work. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. You stop silencing the voice inside you that wants to make, shape, forge. Creation is no longer an option. It becomes a necessity. Not because the world demands it, because your soul demands it. Life, left to itself, is chaotic. Tragedy strikes without warning. Loss comes without reason. Suffering rises without mercy. Nietzsche believed that meaning is not found, it is forged. You forge meaning by creating. A philosophy, a body of work, a way of being. Through creation, you impose form on the chaos of existence. You declare, "This pain will not destroy me. This confusion will not silence me. This absurdity will not make me despair. Instead, you turn your suffering into art, your confusion into clarity, your fleeting life into something eternal. This is not denial. This is transformation. Consumption numbs. Creation heals. When you consume endlessly, you delay facing your pain. You distract yourself from your emptiness. You bury your questions under noise. But when you create, you confront what hurts. You wrestle with what confuses. You give form to what feels chaotic inside you. Creation is not always beautiful. It is often messy, raw, broken. But in creating, you bring your inner world into the light. You make it tangible, visible, shareable. And in doing so, you heal. Not by pretending your wounds don't exist, but by turning them into something that matters. Because in the act of creating, you defy nihilism. You stand before the abyss and declare, I will still shape. I will still forge. I will still build meaning where none is given. Every act of creation is an act of spiritual defiance, a refusal to surrender to despair, a refusal to let the void have the final word. You are not here to consume endlessly. You are here to give birth to new worlds, even if they are tiny, even if they are unseen. And when you create consistently, without waiting for permission, without waiting for perfection, you become what Nietzsche called a becoming, not a finished product, but a living force, ever evolving, ever creating, ever alive. When you create, you are saying thank you to existence itself. Thank you for the breath in my lungs. Thank you for the chaos that shaped me. Thank you for the fleeting, burning chance to be here. Nietzsche believed that existence was not something to be judged, but something to be affirmed. And affirmation requires action. Every work you forge, every word you write, every life you shape with your hands is an act of gratitude for the miracle of being alive at all. You don't show gratitude by consuming endlessly. You show it by contributing. Everything you create carries a piece of you into the future. Long after you are gone, your creations may continue to speak. A book still read, a kindness still remembered, a life still inspiring. Nietzsche understood that mortality is not the enemy. Oblivion is. And the only antidote to oblivion is creation. You don't need to be famous. You don't need to build monuments. You only need to dare to shape your existence instead of consuming it. Because in doing so, you leave behind something real, something true, something that proves you were here. Every time you create, you are making a declaration. I will not be erased. I will not be swallowed by noise. I will not let the world pass through me without leaving a mark. You are declaring that life, with all its pain and absurdity, was still worth engaging, still worth shaping, still worth answering. Nietzsche believed that the highest courage was to say yes to life. Not because it's easy, not because it's fair, but because it is. And because it is, you respond, not with despair, but with creation. Now you stand at the crossroads. You can continue consuming more shows, more trends, more noise, or you can start creating something that matters, something that echoes, something that makes your brief existence blaze with meaning. The call is not to perfection. It's not to fame. It's to participation. To stop sitting in the audience of your own life and to take the stage. Because no one else can do it for you. No one else can create what only you can bring into the world. So now I ask you, what will you create before your time is done? What fire is smoldering inside you, waiting to be forged into form? What song, what book, what vision, what life is waiting for you to say yes to it? If something inside you stirred during this video, if you're ready to stop consuming and start forging, leave a comment. What creation are you ready to begin? And if you're serious about becoming a creator, if you're done being a spectator in your own life, subscribe, because we are here to forge, to build, to blaze new trails into the unknown. Until next time, keep shining, not to be seen, but to see.